Hello guys, it's JohnMaster100. Today, I want to make a video kind of recapping Bakugan Battle Planet, the first year pretty much. I was going to make a video like this when it first came out, kind of just to go over the first wave, but I decided not to. I was just going to do like an overview at the end of the first season. But let me know if you guys want me to do the whole wave by wave thing in the future, because I will do that. But here we are. Also, I'm not going to really be interacting with the camera very much, so if like you just want to throw this on in the background tab, feel free. But yeah, I just want to kind of go over everything that's really come out, talk about what I think of it, if it's, good or bad, and just, yeah, go over everything, I guess. So first up, the game itself is greatly improved. So for those of you who don't know, the original series, you had 3 Bakugan, 3 gate cards, 3 ability cards. Well, that's the game, and that's just kind of how it was, at least in the beginning. I know things changed later on, but this is the first season of Battle Planet, so we're going to be comparing it to the first season of Battle Brawlers. So, yeah, very simplistic. Whereas this, you have 3 Bakugan with 3 corresponding character cards. You have 6 Bakugan cores, and then you also have your 40 ability cards, the whole deck of them. Great. Actually just great. Really, really well done. The game is just so much better, because it's not really an issue with the Bakugan or even the gate cards, because we still have a similar concept now, with like the cores and, well, the current Bakugan. The issue is that ability cards, there's just hundreds of them, but you only had to pick 3. Like, I know that there's so many more cards in the game than you really get to put in a deck, obviously, but 3 is just so limited. So it's great that we get a whole deck, a whole 40 card deck of these. Also, I think that the character cards are a great addition. Character cards allow for a lot more customization per Bakugan. Before, we always had a printed power level on the card, or on the Bakugan, and we still have that, but now on the card we have that, but also there's the new damage category. Plus, some Bakugan even have some extra text to give them a little bit more, like an ability or something, which is really cool. Each Bakugan kind of feels more unique and not just, alright, this is an attribute and a power. It's like, G power is the old thing, now we have, B power. I don't actually, what even is the proper term for that? I'm just so used to saying G power, it's rough, but yeah, back then it was just, okay, here's the attribute, here's the G power. Now we have a bunch of different things. We have things just like that, but also more. I think it was a great addition. Cores versus gate cards, a little bit mixed on that. I kind of miss gate cards, but I do think that the cores are a better transition. I think that these are better for the game. Definitely makes for faster paced games as well. I like that a lot more. And of course the ability cards are much better. It's basically, we took the old game of Bakugan and mixed it in with an actual TCG. I think that was a great idea. So far, the game itself, phenomenal job. Let's talk a little bit more about the Bakugan themselves. Obviously, these are like the biggest thing. As far as the game goes, yeah, they're obviously a huge part, but well, for collectors, that's like the only thing that collectors really care about for the most part. I guess some might care about cards, but Bakugan are obviously the main things. So how do they stack up compared to the old ones? Well, I feel like the cores are very lackluster. The Bakugan cores, like the cheaper ones, like the $7 ones, they are not as good as that they used to be. They feel lackluster because of the lack of manual parts. This is something that a lot of people complained about back in the day. Having a Bakugan where you have to open up half the thing by yourself, it kind of eliminates the purpose of having the gate card in the first place, right? Which I agree with. I hated having Bakugan with a ton of manual parts, but I feel like there's a lot of Bakugan that could benefit from just having some manual parts. Like on screen here, I said I wasn't going to really interact much, but I guess a couple things. But like, I have a Dragonoid. This Dragonoid looks very strange in my opinion. I feel like the hands and the feet are very small. The body is just too big. The reason for that is because they wanted everything to open all at once, which kind of destroyed the design in my opinion. I feel like some Bakugan just would look better if they had a couple just small little things that could open up, manual. I know very few of them do have that though, which is good. But I wish there were more with just something that you could kind of move on your own. It really adds to the design, whereas the current ones, I don't know, they just seem very lackluster in that regard. That's kind of my biggest complaint about Bakugan right now, in terms of like the main ones, that they just feel off at times. Like Pegatrix, like a core Pegatrix looks very strange because the feet are very small in proportion to the body, and it just looks very off. I think had we had at least one of the sets be of manual parts, it would have looked so much better, but sadly, it just looks kind of odd. Now, Ultras are much better. Ultras are basically what I've been wanting forever, a more detailed version of a Bakugan. Sadly not with the paint job. I always also wanted a Bakugan that was like very detailed with paint, kind of like how they were in the show. Sadly we don't have that, but hey, I will gladly take Ultras. They are great. So Ultras are essentially a few dollars extra. You get an ability card and of course a more detailed Bakugan. The things I have in box in the back, and then also the two on the sides. All these Bakugan are Ultras. Essentially, they just look better. Gameplay-wise, they're the same as the core counterparts, so for competitive players, that's also great. You don't have to buy $10 Bakugan, you could just buy the $7 ones and have the same thing. Though, perhaps you might want an Ultra if there's a good ability card that comes with it, that's always a plus as well. But these Ultras essentially just have so much more detail to them, they're so much cooler looking. And also, one great thing is that even though they can't really fold up into a perfect sphere because of all the details, they at least have kind of a wheel-like mechanism in the middle that stays flat, so you can at least roll them. Whoever thought of that, great idea. Thank you so much, because old Bakugan, especially in the later seasons, they were like impossible to roll. It got ridiculous. So whoever came up with that idea, thank you. That is such a big help. So I think Ultras are amazing. I think these are some of the best things we got in Bakugan. Definitely huge helps, which I'm really glad we got them. They just do everything, almost everything that I wanted them to do. Yeah. So next up, let's talk about a special type of Bakugan, Diamond Bakugan. If you notice the Ultra Pegatrix on the right there, that is actually a diamond version of it. So I want to talk about Diamond a little bit. Diamond Bakugan are terrible. At least for the game. Gameplay wise, I think Diamond Bakugan are genuinely just awful. And here's why. I don't hate the concept of chase figures. Like, there's always been rare figures almost any figure toy line has some kind of rare figure that you have to try and hunt down. I'm okay with that. The problem is they come with an evolution card. These evolution cards, really good. Really, really good. Yes, you can get them elsewhere, but like these are just confirmed ways to get them and make them so easy to get. The problem with that is, like I said, they're hard to find. So you have people who could just kind of randomly hunt them down and they have a clear advantage over those who don't. Not everyone has the money to just run to the store, grab anything they want, leave, or order them online for a ridiculous amount of money. Not everyone could do that. So for other players, it just kind of becomes an issue. Like, they don't have access to these special cards. The Bakugan function the exact same. You have the same character card, same figure, just look different. But the ability cards are kind of huge deals. I really don't like that. I really don't like having this confirmation of getting a really good card. I don't know, it just feels kind of garbage to me. I think from a collector standpoint, they're great. So my idea, either make Diamond Bakugan easy to find for the sake of evolution cards being more accessible, or stop including the evolution cards in the with Diamond Bakugan and just have them a normal everyday Bakugan. They're the same as their counterparts, like this Chaos Pegatrix. a Chaos Pegatrix and this Diamond Pegatrix, they're the same thing. Literally, the only difference is the Bakugan is slightly different with, well, not slightly different, but they're, different coat of paint, essentially. That's how it should be done. There should not be any evolution cards in there. I don't like that. I don't know how other people feel about it. Personally, I just think it's awful. It's like they were kind of confused on, like they're kind of still in this weird area between Bakugan and TCG, and they picked the worst possible option. Having a chase figure that includes a really good piece for the game, like, oh man, that was not the best move. So I would like to see that changed in the future. I feel like it probably won't, but hey, I'm just trying to get some opinions out there. So there's that. I don't know. Next up, we have the products. The products themselves, like other things besides just ultras and cores and whatever, just like the starter packs, starter sets, and stuff like that. These are, for the most part, good. At least value-wise. Obviously, I mean, some people might view them differently. Like, competitively, perhaps you might not want to buy them because you might be paying a lot of money just for things that you don't need, but like, you have like starter packs, 3 Bakugan, 3 character cards, 3 ability cards, 6 cores. Pretty good, $20. That's actually a pretty good deal. But then there's starter sets, which you get the same stuff except instead of 3 ability cards, you get 40. It's a whole deck. It's $30, so $10 more. But honestly, for a whole deck, that's actually pretty good. And there's the game packs. Are they still called game packs? I might be having my old Gundalian Invader self coming out with that one, but the 5 packs essentially, where you get 5 Bakugan, 5 character cards, 5 ability cards, 10 cores. It's $30. That's like a ridiculous good deal for a collector. To be honest, like that, you get so much for like $30. That's not bad at all. At least in relativity to what the price of a normal Bakugan is. That's really good. Yeah, booster packs for the cards are usually cheap. I often see them for $2, and 10 cards for $2. That's like ridiculously good. Yeah, the products overall, I feel like they all have some kind of value to them, and I think that's really good. Honestly, I kind of wish the Bakugan were cheaper themselves. They kind of are a little pricey in my opinion. I think $7 for one could have come down to $6. That's just me. I think the Bakugan, like, I'm not complaining too much about the price, but I think that could have come down a bit. But as far as the other products go, in relativity to what the actual prices of other Bakugan are, yeah, they're good deals. So that's at least a plus right there. Plus, you do get a decent amount. Like, for example, starter packs. Notice that you get 3 ability cards. And technically, since you don't get ability cards with cores, that's actually better than what buying an Ultra and 2 cores would be like. Because if you bought that, you get an Ultra, 2 cores, 3 character cards, 6 core, or I should say 2 core Bakugan, and then 6 cores for the game. But you would only get 1 ability card, but with these starter packs you get 3, so it's kind of a little bonus. I don't know how many people notice that, but yeah, I feel like that explanation was kind of garbage. My bad. Yeah, I kind of did that pretty awfully. I hope someone gets what I'm talking about, but anyway, the products, like I said, overall good. One other problem I have, though, there is one huge issue I have with Battle Planet, at least with a certain thing, and that is the flagship Bakugan. Like the huge Bakugans. They always have done this thing where they kind of like, what's the word? They always have like this flagship product at the end of the year. This time was Maximus Dragonoid. I totally didn't just look that up on the fly. So Maximus Dragonoid is our flagship product. They always have a product that releases around Christmas time, of course, for a Christmas present. And that was it this year. Usually they do 2. They only did 1 this time. It's awful. It's genuinely awful. It's basically like buying like an Ultra. And then the other money, like the rest of the money, so like that's $10. And the other, depending on the sale, sometimes I think it's on sale for like $30 right now. It's like the other 20 to or the other 20 to like $40 that you're spending on this thing goes to this giant figure that does nothing. It doesn't do anything in game. Everything else has done something in game before. The Maxis Bakugan, Maxis Dragonoid, 1 Bakugan, 6 traps, all playable. Maxis Helios, 7 Bakugan, all playable. Dragonoid Colossus, 1 Bakugan, 4 Battle Gear, 1 hub piece. Everything was playable besides that. Dark Colossus, 1 Bakugan, 2 Deluxe Battle Gear, 1 hub. The hubs weren't playable, but like they weren't bad because they kind of bring the whole set together as a display. But besides that, everything else is playable. That wasn't really that bad. Dragonoid Destroyer, 2 Bakugan, 1 very large, just unconventionally large battle suit. All playable though. Mactavius Destroyer, as awful as that thing was, 4 Mactagon that are all playable. That's the thing. Playability. That's why I like them so much. They're huge products, but they all had some kind of playability. Whereas this doesn't. You're spending so much money on just this giant figure that does literally nothing. Like, that's not good. Like, you should not have your flagship product be not viable with your game. Especially because they're trying to make this into a bigger, more competitive game, obviously, with the 40 card decks, you know. They're obviously going more to a TCG route. And it's definitely more competitive than it used to be. So why now would you choose to make a product that has almost nothing to do with the game? Yeah, you get a Bakugan ability card, I don't care. There's that, but you could just get that stuff with an Ultra. Here, you're getting... What is that supposed to be? Like, why does that exist? It shouldn't. That is the worst flagship product we've gotten in Bakugan history. Honestly, I can almost debate that was just the worst Bakugan product we've gotten in history. It was awful. It's terrible. Because it's like you're spending $10 on stuff you could just buy elsewhere, and then the rest is just useless. Like, I don't understand it. Like, it was such an awful... It's such an awful thing. I don't know. I think it was, like, really, really bad. Like, whoever thought that was a good idea, why? Please explain to me. Like, yeah, it's cool for kids to play with, but you could have released that separately for, like, $20. I know they used to have, like, the Baku Morphs, back in Good Alien Invaders. Those were $20, roughly. They were kind of like that, except, you know, they weren't gameplay viable or anything. You couldn't play them in an actual game. But they were at least, you know, separate. You didn't have to buy them. They're marketing this as, like, the big flagship product, and that is just not good. This does nothing. Especially because you get a really busted ability card, and, like, yeah, $50. Or I guess with sale and stuff, it'd be like 30, but whatever. I just want to call out how awful that product is. I really felt the need to do that. It's just bad. So in conclusion, how do I feel about this? What do I think they can improve on? Alright, so first up, overall, definitely the positives outweigh the negatives. The game itself, amazing. I think that they did a fantastic job improving it. They kind of mixed Bakugan with like a traditional TCG, did a really good job with that. It's great. The Ultras are also amazing. The core Bakugan overall pretty good. I think that they could definitely up their usage of manual parts, not to the extent that they used to, but I wouldn't mind seeing them a little bit more just for design purposes. That could definitely help out. Diamond Bakugan, please change them. Either make them more accessible for competitive players, or get rid of the evolution cards in there and just have them be chase figures for collectors, and they don't really matter in game. Competitive players can still get them. It's kind of like having a full holofoil deck. I mean, you don't have to do that, but like some people just do. And then also for flagship products, I'm sure they'll have them next year. Please make it to where it is viable competitively. I don't care if every single piece is viable, like the Colossus, for example, like Dragon Colossus and Dark Colossus. There's a piece that isn't viable. everything else is. That was mainly just for the display purpose. That's fine. I'd prefer if everything was viable, but, like, don't have the biggest part of the set just be something that you can't use in game. I don't know. It just makes me mad. Like, that's the one thing that I really cannot stand about Battle Planet. That was like such a dumb thing. So yeah, besides that stuff, I think that they're doing pretty well. I don't expect to see a Diamond Bakugan switch though, to be honest. Perhaps maybe more manual parts could happen. Diamond Bakugan probably going to stay the same, sadly. But I do hope that they improve on the next big flagship product. So yeah, I know we're going to have like Battle Gear type of stuff coming up for next season, so hopefully that goes well. But we're not there yet, so we're not going to talk about that in this video. But that's just kind of my conclusion of the whole Battle Planet series. Just kind of how I feel about it. Just as a whole. Pretty long video, but I don't know. I feel like it was something I wanted to talk about. Just kind of how I thought it was so far. I probably should have made this earlier, I'm not going to lie. I think I should have just done the wave by wave thing. Maybe I'll do that just regardless starting now. But yeah, definitely looking good though. First season of Battle Planet definitely went well. Just a few things are unfortunate. Please, if anything, please make a better flagship product. I really did not think Maximus Dragonoid was a good product. Like, why was that released? I'm gonna shut up now. Anyways, that's all for this video before I drag it out even further. I know how I am. So anyway, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.